Let me tell you what it's like when the call goes out for people in Portland, Oregon to defend their communities against ICE. Over the last few weeks, we've seen a dramatic escalation in ICE activity around the Portland metro area. In particular, ICE has been targeting neighborhoods around elementary schools, showing up to abduct parents when children are being dropped off in the morning or being picked up in the afternoon. And neighborhoods all over Portland are organizing on a hyper-local level to fight back and to defend their neighbors. And here's what it looks like. So there is an elementary school just a little bit south of my house, and ICE has been there stalking in the mornings, trying to abduct parents, trying to abduct children. There were reports that they were trying to get into the school, but Oregon is a sanctuary state and Portland is a sanctuary city. Inside a sanctuary state, ICE is not getting into our school buildings. The teachers, the admin, they have a whole protocol. I don't want any child or parent to feel like ICE is going to come busting into a school in Oregon. That's not going to happen. But they are stalking the neighborhoods around schools, and they are trying to snatch parents and maybe even children. Not maybe even. We know that ICE has taken children in Portland, including American citizen children, and stuffed them into detention facilities. So every time the regime tries something nasty and terrible and cruel and authoritarian, it gives us a chance to craft a way to fight back, to craft a way to resist what they're doing. It gives us an opportunity to be adaptive and creative, and also to invoke a backlash effect. And that is what we're seeing in Portland, very much so. When ICE attacks our elementary schools, that activates the local community around that school. They are activating hyper-local resistance. They are creating a backlash, and they don't even realize it. So this school that is just a couple minutes from my house had ICE there in the morning, and there was a big call put out, hey, if you live in the neighborhood, can you show up in the afternoon to just flank the school and make sure that these kids can safely get home? They can get on the bus, they can get to their parents waiting in their cars. Can you just be a presence? And so while ICE was patrolling in the morning, trying to abduct people in the afternoon, we were told that, parents, and not just parents, it's mostly not parents, right? Because the parents are the ones being targeted. It's mostly just folks who live in the area who show up. They were lining the sidewalks all around the school, and ICE just sat down the street, and they were too chicken shit to do anything. The people from the neighborhood who turned out in force to line the sidewalks were enough of a deterrent that ICE didn't try and engage in their terrible, brutal abductions. So the call went out again today. Hey, this school is being targeted. We need people to show up when school is letting out in the afternoon. I am in a group that is specifically about immigrant support for my part of Portland. And so I got the message. And originally I was supposed to be in North Portland for an appointment, and that got canceled. And I was like, you know what? I've got time. Let's go. I'll be there. One of my neighbors wanted to go, and we're like, cool, we're showing up. We got there, it's rainy, it's cold. There were people on both sides of the sidewalk. They were around the back side of the school, just standing there. We're all real calm. We've all got our whistles. I have my roller derby whistle, and I have my box of whistle kits, and I was handing out whistles to people who didn't have them. We're just milling around, having conversations, getting to know the other folks who were there, making sure that we are a presence, both so that those children and their families know this community stands with you. Even if ICE shows up and we can't stop every horrible thing that they want to do, we are there to document. We are there to say, you are not alone. This is not acceptable. I think that we all underestimate the importance of showing solidarity with immigrants who are being targeted, making it very clear that we are not in support of what the regime is doing, and that we stand with our immigrant neighbors. We stand with our immigrant children. That very public physical display in and of itself, very powerful. But also there is the deterrent effect. So ICE didn't show up today. We all stood there until the kids got out, the school buses got out, parents came and picked up their children, and then we all went home. But while we were there, I'm very introverted in real life, but you know what? I used my box of whistle kits as this is the way that I can pretend to be an extrovert and strike up conversations with people. So I'm walking around handing out whistle kits, and I talked with several people. Almost everybody who was there came by themselves. They didn't know anybody else who was showing up. They saw a social media post, or it was shared in some Signal group that they're in, and they decided all on their own, I need to show up for these children. And they did. And I want to convey here how important that is, and what an act of courage that is. It takes an awful lot in 2025 in the United States to just all on your own step out and take a risk. You don't know anybody who's going to be there. You don't know what's going to happen, except you know that ICE might show up. And to decide, I'm just going to step out and trust that the other people there are going to have my back, that I won't be alone. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to step out in courage and I'm going to stand there and protect these kids. Anybody who showed up today and you came by yourself, thank you. I hope you appreciate and give yourself a big pat on the back for the amount of courage that it took for you to take that action. Most of the people that I talked to were there all on their own. And gosh, a bunch of us exchanged information. We're joining groups together. We're organizing. And this is exactly what I mean about the backlash that ICE is creating by choosing to attack elementary schools and the neighborhoods around them. They are boosting hyper-local resistance and they don't even realize it. When we show up together for events like this, we make connections. We build that resistance. We help people get plugged in, right? Oh, you want to go to more of these events like this? Oh, well, I'm in a Signal chat for folks who are able to rapid respond to elementary schools in the area. Can I add you? Oh, you want to know about other ways that you can get involved in resistance? Would you like to join my Indivisible group? Oh, can I add you on Signal and we can just keep in touch? I saw so many phones out today, so much coordinating, so many connections that were being built. And when people take on these small actions, especially because it's not coordinated, they just saw a social media post and they're like, I got to do something. I don't know what to do, but this is something that I know that I can do. So I'm going to show up for this and see where it goes. They are building success. They're feeling like, yes, my contribution matters because it does matter. And then they're willing to try and engage in the next thing and the next thing. This is how we build resistance. This is how we will be effective against ICE. This is how we will be effective against fascism. It is hyper-local organizing. Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. And the place you have the biggest impact, the most ability to do good is right outside your back door, right in your own neighborhood. So yeah, it really, really sucks that ICE is targeting little children and their parents. We can sit there and be horrified that Anne Frank's diary entry is being lived out in 2025 America, where children come home from school and their parents are missing. Children leave the elementary school, they don't even get all the way to their car, and ICE has their mom on the ground, zip-tied. That's horrific. It's awful. I don't know how any ICE agent can sleep at night. And we should not minimize how terrible and devastating the things they're doing are. But at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to organize against it. When they do something terrible, we get to choose how to react. And what we're seeing in Portland right now, and I know in Chicago as well, is that when ICE does something terrible and cruel, we aren't seeing people cower in their homes. We're not seeing people lay down and surrender. We're seeing people step out in courage. We're seeing people want to rise up and resist. We're seeing people take the steps in the right direction to defend their neighbors. And that to me is tremendously, tremendously encouraging. We cannot control right now what this regime is going to do, but we can control how we respond. And what I'm seeing in Portland is that Portlanders are choosing to respond with courage, with humanity, with compassion, with the kind of boldness that we need. And that gives me so much hope. So thank you to everybody that turned out today. And thank you to everybody elsewhere in Portland who did the same thing, and everybody in Chicago who is doing the same thing, and everybody that will do this again tomorrow. These are small acts, taking 45 minutes out of your day to defend our kids, to engage in a visible act of resistance in small ways that may seem really inconsequential. They're not going to make the headlines. Nobody's going to make a movie about folks lining up on the street for 30 minutes while school lets out. But this is the real work of resistance. This is the real impactful, necessary work. So thank you again to everybody who turned out today.